The wars in the Middle East and Ukraine are escalating, with no signs of de-escalation in sight. As tensions rise, Putin reacts fiercely to the U.S. authorizing medium-range missile launches on Russian soil and supplying anti-personnel mines to Ukraine. In response, he's deploying intercontinental ballistic missiles. Ukrainians say they're medium-range, while Russia insists they're not. This game of brinkmanship is dangerously close to crossing a line, with the specter of nuclear capabilities looming large. The stakes have never been higher, and the world watches as both sides push the accelerator further.
The Russian leader's recent statement reveals a calculated strategy. By declaring a symmetrical response to escalation, he's trying to project rationality. But beneath that veneer lies a clear attempt to intimidate the West. If medium-range missiles require Western personnel to launch, it effectively labels those countries as belligerents. This isn't just rhetoric, it's a warning shot, suggesting that any involvement from the West could escalate tensions dramatically. The message is clear: tread carefully, because the stakes are rising, and the consequences could be severe.
The risk of a nuclear catastrophe feels alarmingly close. We find ourselves in a paradox. We hope for Putin's rationality, even as we condemn his cruelty and reckless actions. It's a strange dance. On one hand, we fear his unpredictability, and on the other, we cling to the hope that he'll act with wisdom and self-control. Yet, history shows us that desperation can lead to catastrophic decisions. As tensions rise, we must question whether rationality can truly coexist with such a volatile mindset. The stakes are high, and the world watches, holding its breath.
In this challenging moment in history, the real disappointment lies in how Western democratic societies are responding. We see countless couch warriors online treating these crises like video games, oblivious to the real human suffering involved. It's not just about the horrific acts of violence, like the Hamas attacks or Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The focus should be on how we, as a society, react. Are we fostering understanding, or are we deepening divides? The adequacy of our response matters more than ever. We must rise above the noise and engage thoughtfully, because the stakes are far too high for anything less.
We underestimated the impact of sanctions on Russia, believing they would crumble quickly. Remember those bold predictions? Yet here we are, still facing a resilient superpower. The real miscalculation? Thinking we could win a proxy war against a nuclear nation just by funding and arming Ukraine. It's a dangerous game, and the stakes are higher than ever. This isn't just about military might. It's about understanding the complexities of power dynamics. Ignoring that could lead to consequences we're not prepared for. The psychological landscape of today's conflicts reveals a stark truth. We're witnessing a generation that has lost touch with the horrors of past wars. The Second World War and the atomic devastation of Hiroshima and Nagasaki feel like distant memories. Our parents faced the evil empire of their time with a strategy of non-belligerent deterrence, recognizing the need for balance and dialogue. Today, however, the brakes seem to have collapsed. Instead of cautious diplomacy, we see a rush to aggression, as if the lessons of history have been forgotten. It's a dangerous game, one that could lead us down a path we're not prepared to navigate.
In the chaos of revolts across the East, we witnessed bloodshed and oppression, yet no one dared to dream of striking back at the heart of the aggressor. We watched as Russian tanks rolled over hopes and lives, and it begs the question, were we too cautious then, or are we simply too timid now? The world stood by, paralyzed by fear of escalation, while the cries for justice echoed unheard. It's a stark reminder that sometimes the greatest risk is inaction. As we reflect on those moments, we must ask ourselves, what price are we willing to pay for our silence?
War has a way of stripping away our humanity, leaving behind a trail of brutality that taints everyone involved. It's disheartening to see Western democracies, often touted as the pinnacle of civilization, grappling with their own moral failures. We have a leader facing arrest for war crimes, while allies supply weapons that exacerbate suffering. The irony is staggering. How can we claim superiority when our actions contradict our values? The very systems meant to uphold justice seem complicit in a cycle of violence, raising the question, what does it mean to be civilized in a world where war is still the norm?
We're at a critical juncture in global relations. Instead of viewing China as a rich civilization ripe for dialogue and cooperation, some are framing it as an imminent threat. This mindset is dangerous. President Mattarella highlighted the importance of engaging with China to foster a multipolar world. We should be seeking collaboration, not confrontation. The world needs balance, not a rush to military conflict. Embracing dialogue could lead to innovative solutions for global challenges, but fear and hostility will only deepen divides. Let's choose understanding over aggression.
We find ourselves in a dangerous stalemate where reason seems to falter. Yet, our rich cultural heritage reminds us that dialogue and diplomacy are powerful tools. Imagine a world where we prioritize understanding over conflict, where we seek common ground instead of division. It's about more than just talking. It's about truly listening to each other's perspectives. By embracing compromise and cooperation, we can initiate acts of de-escalation that pave the way for lasting peace. It's time to turn our rich traditions into actionable steps toward a brighter future. Europe once stood as a beacon of culture, innovation, and diplomacy, shaping the world with its rich history. Yet today, it feels like a distant memory. The continent seems to be losing its voice on the global stage, overshadowed by emerging powers. Decisions that once echoed through history now struggle to resonate. The ideals of unity and cooperation are tested as internal divisions grow. It's a stark reminder that history isn't just about the past, it's about how we choose to engage with the present. Europe has the potential to reclaim its role, but it requires a renewed commitment to collaboration and vision.